All we're doing is giving the people a choice. The Kaiso is the heartbeat of a nation, strong and free. So why is there hostility directed at we? Kaiso is our profession, our job, our livelihood. It's like any other job. You are fraud if you don't do it good. So we represent all sides. Those who know they backslide, those who find Mogi singing for Corey. We represent all sides. So there is no backslide. Everyone has a purpose under the sun that becomes their life mission. Politicians pass legislation while we sing the words of the nation. So what's with this outside? Why are you telling us outside? Hostility outside. Time we stop thinking outside. Whether it's Kakal or Empress, our aim is not to distress. Expose lies no matter who the boss is. It's just another day at the office. Guys, so
we survived. We're here. Teddy, good morning. Good morning, Poppy. Morning.
Another day at the office. Another day. No time to rest, Claude Paul. Maureen, you have to make it. You wrap up. Important.
Yeah.
You have to finish what you start.
Yeah.
Yes. Your job is done.
That guides your life a lot.
Yes.
Don't start what you can finish. Yeah.
Yes.
Quite so.
And it is the morning after the season before. Not the day before, the season before.
It's the whole season.
What the season? My club really started here in May, a couple of days after Jazz. It seemed such a long haul.
Yeah.
A lot has happened. It has been a lot of work, but in the end, we pulled through in the interest of the mass. And yesterday, Claude, I'll let you go first. Your general impressions of the carnival, and in fact, in the end, the final 2 days.
Terry, as a person immersed in the VAVAL, it was completely enjoyable for me from that perspective. But I had a chance to look around as well, step on the side and try to see what was happening in the whole of the carnival. And I think it was good. Also, there's a lot of social media coverage of it, which gave you some other perspective. So I think, all in all, a successfully run carnival. Of course, we are with the numbers, in terms of the visitor arrival, and these are other, economic indicators which justify the whole spend. But of course, that will come later, I imagine, from the tourism authority and others, the ministry, etc. But I think, people seem genuinely pleased with what was happening. As far as I know, there were no major incidents. So, in the carnival itself. So, that's also a plus. And the other thing was that the bands moved, efficiently through the system, through the route, and went around town and came back, especially the bigger bands. And so that helped with the flow quite a bit. There were, a couple as you say, traffic jams along the way. That's inevitable in the route that we have. We don't have that choice. Interestingly enough, it seemed to work out well. Police were in strong attendance, of course, and doing the jobs well as usual. Yeah.
Claude, what struck me before we get into the actual operational aspect of the carnival and the artistic elements, I just found at all the fetes I went to, and indeed the 2 days yesterday, I found people were just so joyous and joyful. Of some carnivals in some countries, including St. Lucia, sometimes you find that people, a little drudgery seems to set in. I thought at most points, when I look at that parade of bands, I looked along the route and the fetes preceding, I did find that people really were ecstatic at some points. They really were enjoying themselves and really had a great time. And that's what ultimately is always important in the carnival. I found that throughout a very happy carnival, people really getting into it in the revelry along the route. And of course, the numbers that were so impressive along the way, the numbers with the bands. Doing the research, doing it now and seeing that a few things. One, the aspect of the Monday and Tuesday where all my knowledge ahead of it and just my more recent inquiries that St. Lucia, first of all, for a long time was the only country offering the same fare on 2 days, doing your costume 2 days. Many countries that had very soft and juve into a t-shirt mask on the Monday and then the Tuesday into full costume. In fact, in the likes of St. Vincent and Grenada, St. Vincent, yes, a good culture of mask, but Grenada, the mask, the costume part is not the big jewel in the carnival crown. I find a case like Grenada, in fairness, their jewel is really the jab. That is their big jewel to the world. They play mass, yes. The night mass on the Monday, really when the country, the pulse of the country is felt. So the costume happens in a Grenada, but not at the center of the crown, you know. That is in fact the case. St. Vincent of late has moved towards that too. I found a de-emphasis and de-emphasizing of St. Vincent's mass, the portrayal and costume, whereas other aspects of it are very powerful. The community mass, their first day, the Monday. So we for a long time were the only ones doing the same on the 2 days. Barbados, of course, only has 1 day, they have no choice. And then I found very organically some of the younger band leaders, the importation, the Trinidad effect of the Monday, where Tuesday, where social media, that's what it does. We found over the last 10 years, starting about 8 years ago, specifically, we did find a drifting towards that Tuesday, in our case, the Tuesday way. We have done the reverse. No other country does it that way, to do the Monday, the pretty mask, the costume mask on the Monday, and then free up the Tuesday. I find that more sensible. You've done your portrayal, works well. You've done, you're less beaten up, you know, in full splendor, in full form, you do your Monday, and then the Tuesday, you free up. And then we saw the competition was savage at the social media among the ladies in particular. Maureen will agree, where they had the individual, each person had their own shoes they wear, and so the competition was on. You're going crazy. Everybody have their own designer, their own thing, their own jewels. And the bands, almost as a collective, 2-3 years ago, decided to have it uniform. So they started providing, as part of the package, a uniformed approach to the Tuesday wear, the Tuesday wear as part of the package. And so at least the uniformity adds to some kind of spectacle on the day, for images, for persons viewing, some kind of spectacle on the day. And so that's where we are, St. Lucia with the Monday and then the Tuesday wear. The other aspect too, Claude, is that the numbers, bands, I don't think the other islands, I'm trying to see, Barbados was one time power by 4 and so had some great numbers. But right now, I don't think any or many islands, Trinidad apart, of course, Trinidad is another stratosphere, right?
20,000.
Yeah, the bands. But that this 2,500 and just for fun and Zuvu in individual bands, I'm trying to confirm whether, starting with Barbados, they do have that number in individual bands. It will be a stretch. I don't.
Well, they have a bigger population than us.
They do, but they have more bands.
Yes, more
Barbados,
bands. Yes.
The strength.
There
are countries with more bands than us. Barbados has, they've had a slight decline, but the whole country, St. Thomas will have a band. The community involvement, Light and Power, the Loose Lake equivalent would have a band. Really widespread involvement. So they have about 20 some bands, 25 bands at some times. What has happened in Barbados is, by the admission of some revelers, that sun, that Bajan heat is special, you know, Bajan heat. And so people went for this thing called 4-day morning, the equivalent of Juve, which has about 60 bands.
That's about and that's on Saturday.
Saturday, yes. You know, Barbados different.
Yes.
Not the only Juve that's not on Carnival, the Carnival Day. And so the 4-day morning is big. So people opted for that, according to a survey, 4 years ago, opted for that big Juve jump and the parties, the fetes, in the shade of a breakfast fete.
Yes.
The actual that sun was not easy and became less attractive to people. They just reveling in that sun down that Spring Garden Highway, or from the stadium going down. You found a drifting towards a preference doing a package, a little bouquet of the menu of fetes instead of the road. So they had a decline in the numbers on the road, and of course Barbados fighting the huge Trinidad involvement. They now pushing back on that Trinidad, owning most of the fetes, a lot of the private effect, and the partnership with the bands being Trini dominated. So they have their own self-examination to do, and they're looking at that. But Barbados, again, like the Caribbean, having special attractions. Their 4-day morning is powerful. It's really something to behold, with as much as 60, a little over 60 bands on some occasion. The average about 50 something now, you know. So different aspects to look at. But I'm reverting to St. Lucia being different as far as offering and doing the Tuesday wear, which is when you free up and be quite liberal in the wear on the second day. The big costume for judging is on the first day, the fancy costume. Different aspects to look at. Claude, you in the music, I have hardly felt such anticipation for that road match race. Your CMMC has some kind of oversight over that. Tell us how you saw that and the music generally.
So Terry, I think we have at least 10 judging points throughout the route, and so as the bands approach, the persons responsible will take note of what song was playing as the band approached and get a counter signature from the tent leader, from the band leader. So that system is in place, well entrenched.
Music?
I think as we go through, what we saw yesterday basically was that the bands reserve the choice songs for the point between the roundabout at VG to the stage. Before that, it is a chipping kind of groovy soca kind of move, and then after the stage they also revert to something light for members for the band to just go through the streets of Castries as they wait for their turn back up. So interesting the way that the music evolved on the carnival day. So I wait to see what the results are sometime today. I hope we get
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock is the announcement.
The press conference is at 11 o'clock today, and the results will in fact be known then for all the major competitions under the CPMC. The music, though, generally throughout the carnival, not just on the road, the music coming out of the producers and the artists this year. Your take, your perspective.
Yeah, I go on people's feedback, Teddy, and I think there is a general acceptance that our music seemed to be better this year. Of course, there's also the Denway segment aspect, which is back up in the fall. So the hats off for the D-Vibes session there. Did a show up at what's called Lamar Grounds. That was a massive undertaking, and it has really given them the spotlight. There was a lot of Denway segment in the VAVAL, as you know. And but we've had some good soca songs, I think. As somebody is immersed in it, it's difficult for me to say. I was only in one band, so I cannot really speak on that too much. Maybe you might be better able to. But there are some interesting times ahead, yes. Yeah.
The idea, no doubt, when you say you're pushing tourism, your carnival to attract tourists to your country, you want them to retain unique features. And so they have said, they spoke resoundingly last year, a number of the foreign influencers who came here, that they wanted more St. Lucianism, more St. Lucianness in the carnival. And so this year, from It's OK to OK, through Biscuit, through all the Denway segment, the Tally Boy movement, the Tension Boys, and a new wave and a new cadre of Denway segment artists, so healthy for the art form. We had seen a lull, particularly with the death and the tragic death of G6.
That's
one of the most prolific, most talented producers, not just in quantity and the number of races, but really special. Up to Marshall again paying tribute to him and his regret that he didn't get to do a big project with him, really renowned throughout the region. A lot of the pundits attributed to his passing, but then we saw late last year and certainly this year resurgence, and you saw the visitors really enjoying and lapping up the Biscuit, and the Bamba Mussel, and so the T-Tac. A lot of and that's what they come for, unique features, indigenous use, the Creole and indigenous rhythms in our music, modernized and packaged for the music industry. That was, I thought, a big plus for the carnival. And just the indications over the last couple of years, the clamor is always from the public, from observers, to innovate, to evolve, to tweak, and to improve. And so features like the school tour, the renewed emphasis on this junior aspect of Carnival, really remarkable and very important at the root of the Carnival. This special treatment of Dennery segment, I think in the best way. A few have called for competition. I think that would be the worst thing for the Dennery segment, to immerse it in the celebration has done now, a big festival of it, is in fact, we are already hamstrung, many divided as to the effect of competition on the mainstream music, where it hampers more than promotes. And so I think this Dennery segment, the vibe done by the CPMC, really needs to be commended. It's a big celebration and showcasing. And this year, the bold move to leave the unmatched, unchallenged window of the week before and come into the visitor window, challenging a well-established fete, hello, and doing so well, I think was a bold, a show of confidence in us. And we went in there where there's a fete with a lot of foreign interest in it in St. Lucia. We went head on with them with the Dennery segment, and the Dennery segment show did very, very well. A massive crowd over at Rodney Bay. Commendation to that CPMC, but also the team, people like Lancelot, Sand, Justin, Scaddy.p, and so involved. Kayo, always big up yourself, involved. A number of us, Claude, chipped in on that committee, but the gentlemen identified, they really spearheaded and really pushed that effort to get that done. And so a number of pluses for as we continue. I'd like to see agencies and organizations evolving and responding to the changing environment without damaging totally the authenticity and the true value and quality of the product.
Yeah, but Terry, we must also speak about the music generally in terms of the results, the emerging females in the competition. For example, we have the intercommercial where a female emerged. I think, what is the name? Kaiso Cop.
How dare you, Claude, forget the name. Kaiso Cop from Bordelais.
It's still a little bit fuzzy in my head.
Right, yes. Understandably so. The morning after, understandably so.
Kaiso Cop, and Bordelais, really pushing through here. And of course, our groovy soca monarch, Keisha K, as another satisfying result here, I think, ready, pushing to the fore in the Calypso monarch. And of course, Ezra, the fun machine, as the power soca king. I think all very satisfying results, and really good for the art form as a whole, in my view, that we've seen this, those persons who have labored long in the vineyard coming to the fore and, getting the prize. The prize is here. So I think it's all good for the music, and we are moving where we need to go. And, let's look forward to next year and see how we,
Yeah, and of course the review will be done, but Claude, you must use that opportunity to make the point, the need now to the training and development at the level of one, the urgency for writers.
Correct.
That pool has really dwindled to a handful or even less of really competent, outstanding writers. And so, as you said, an obvious pathway and a catchment is the number of teachers who are involved in writing for the schools, and persons with such talent to contribute to all the school competitions. Naturally, they could be brought in for training and the harnessing of the talent to have a widening of the pool of writers. You really need that, both Calypso and Soca, the writers.
That's
to get through. The writing is important. You saw people like Shemi J returning to form and returning. The writing on some of these songs is fantastic. Shemi J, not the popular Crying Lion, his other song, I know we call it at VAVAL, I hear you having a brunch. That song is so well written and woven. The arrangement too is a really top-class, world-class song as far as the world of soca goes. And the writing, we saw an improvement there in some of the songs from Extreme Band, Big Up Yourself, Imran, and other people. The writing really improved at the level of the soca coming through. You saw Momentum, Devon, Stop It, Stacey, a number of other songs. Sly had some fantastic, a whole EP of great music. And so we came through that. That takes us to, as we continue, the point to the writers and a time to get it right between the Judges Association and the CPMC. I think in the end it was ironed out the relationship between the two, to always ensure that we get the judges, the pool of judges refreshed. And as we say, we insist at our view at VAVAL Central always for the new persons coming in to evaluate the knowledge of Calypso as they come into the fray, that their keenness at a seminar, their attendance and punctuality and regularity should not be the criteria for selecting them for major shows with great artistic talent on show and being judged. So ensure that persons joining the fray have a sufficient knowledge base of Calypso. Now,
so there's a lot of work ahead for us, Teddy, in all of these aspects, as you have pointed out, particularly writers, as you said, and of course, setting a bar that does not make it too easy for somebody to become a judge. I think that's what it is. I think it's too easy to just jump into the fray and find yourself on a panel. We need to be a more rigorous
assessment, evaluation, and there's too much ease of entry.
Yes. So some barriers to entry may have to be created.
Yeah,
that
just prove your, and not an impediment, but just prove that
prove your work,
you're judging Face's work and Happy's work and Suku and Jati still right. That's some great men. To be able to judge their work, you have to prove your work, man. That you know Calypso, you know the art form, the nuances, the context, the evolution of it. Before you sit on a panel, say you're judging Jati and Suku and Sion and Face and Happy, you if you don't do that, you're out of place, to decide you judging such you must know what you're doing, and a smattering of people on the panel with musical knowledge to the music as far as it. But so the work to be done, the Judges Association, a very welcome addition to the Calypso, the landscape in St. Lucia, that whole ecosystem. They have their role to play, but as he's saying, the collab between them and you, the CPMC, to ensure that well ahead, I think all of them, Judges Association, CPMC, CMMC, must make better use of that period, I call it August to December window. That's the Ministry of Culture better use the CDF, have to up their role in the training and development. They really asleep in that regard. In the carnival arts, they must show that one of the main functions of a cultural foundation is training and development. So they must partner with you all and up their game in training and development, and all from ministry down make more use. I'm observing and I'm seeing of this, the August to December window. The carnival planning and must not start in January, February. Having said that, no long talking. Maureen, I want to speak of a song. Andra Henry, HP, we have to have a special conversation. That is one of the magical moments of carnivals over the last how many years. How that song crept into a monster. A song released as early as February, March, was there, and there all the announcers were aware, DJs were aware. HP was aware. He came on this program and sang Panadol instead. Maureen, not even HP pushed that song enough. That song is a great song, has gotten response of seismic proportions at fets. I heard it on the road in some points. That song can go so very far. Take a listen, folks, to one of the biggest songs that crept, was suppressed even by the writer, the singer of the song, wasn't given the true promotion it deserves. HP, this is a huge composition and selection.
Somebody jump on the video. Let me rest it. Let me rest it. Brace, girl, push it. Let me rest it. Let me rest it. Let me rest it. Girl over there, let me rest it. I didn't come for wasting time. I came here for wasting line. Sometime you see me them flat on the
let me tell you, the ride, the groove on that song is
fantastic, really.
special. There's everything in the content too. There's Power GT, there's Mipui, there's empowerment, there's there's
grassroots.
It's really HP. Yeah. I want to get some more detail on who actually did he do all the writing himself. Produced by whom, Maureen? You know who produced that one?
I'm not sure.
Who he worked with on that one?
I think who did mention? He mentioned
find
somebody,
out
you know.
The HP.
I think Nerdy.
Nerdy worked with him on that one?
Yes, him and Nerdy was.
No,
he mentioned Nerdy.
That song is special.
Yeah.
That really a big song. Yeah. And so in the carnival, as we look at several aspects of it, we saw. I just amazed that window, Claude Paul, and I want to big up Colony Red, Thaddeus and the team. What more superlatives can we add? I mean, people solutions now assess well for their money, for their value. This Colony Red was a great one, and Marshall Montano crowning and delivering after his big return. His two last ones have been special. He was phenomenal at Jazz 2 years ago and came back and really delivered. The solution artists too, in their set with Penn DYP, really made us proud. We always want to commend Penn because his leadership and his pulling together the set is not to be taken for granted. He does it very well, and from rehearsal right through. Penn, take your credit, take your plaudits, and the artists delivered. They really belonged on that stage. Yeah. Sometimes in the past they've kind of flagged and waned, but not on this occasion. Massive attendance and a very good Colony Red. A Carnival Friday in any carnival festival is important. For when solutions, the local population and indeed the visitors assess the experience. At the heart of it is a Carnival Friday, and it really delivered well. I continue to be amazed at the plethora of fetes the next morning. 5 major fetes, each averaging about 2,000 people. Really an explosion of a celebration of the culture. And continue throughout the weekend is a soleil here, Water Jouvet, Breezing. The fetes just never ended, Maureen. Everywhere you see there's a big fete. The police, they work hard, but they make some people. Huh? I mean, no, the simple arithmetic. What boy? I said that to a police friend of mine. Only he smiled sheepishly, boy. He said, boy, they could try and I go into the end, boy. The people in the end will be worth it because the private events all have the protocols, must have proper security, the presence of police and so on. All the service providers, when I looked at the catering, the injection and circulation of money in that ministers, we said on the program, Minister Hill, that satellite approach survey must be done to concretize and to get concrete figures. We keep saying a lot of money in circulation, but when I did the arithmetic on Just for Fun, Valen and Ruston and Lance will not mean their business, but simple arithmetic, it's not easy in Ubupi. The amount of money circulating, the revenue aspect, they know the expense in Just for Fun. You have a calculator there? 1,500 by,
Tell you, there are some things that are better left unsaid.
Very good morning. It's our friend, so we won't go into that. But the simple arithmetic says there's a lot of money in circulation. And throughout the carnival bands, the parties, a lot in circulation as we continue through. Another young writer, producer, Danielle Dubois. I thought had an interesting one, Maureen. I just thought that one was different. She chose not to enter it in the competition. It was a better song. She said to me it was just too slow for the stage. She just thought for competition the drive that you need. But it's a wonderful little composition, Danielle Dubois.
Who I am, if I give you all my heart, back, so sweet and natural, don't need no food at all. I wanna make you something, make you settle down and try out for your own thing. I don't know. Can you handle all the waves of the ocean? Come days and days of depression. There we go, we taking it slow, we'll go with the flow. You said that you want me, it's driving you crazy. Tell me that you're ready to deal with that. You know that I love you, do anything for you, I wanted it for you. Boy, you need back, yeah, you are who I am. If I give you all my heart, yeah. You need back, Everything in the sweet goodie bag and the this and that. All of that. Everything in the sweet goodie bag and the this and that. All of that. Everything in the sweet goodie bag. Now you're applying pressure, 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 the pressure on you. Yeah. So you're applying pressure, pressure, pressure. Show me what you do. Show me, show me, show me. You say that you want it. It's driving you crazy. Show me that you're ready to deal with that, to deal with that. You know that I love you. Do anything for you. I'm holding it for you. Boy, leave back, leave back. That you are the way I am. If I give you all my heart, yeah. Leave back, leave back. So sweet and natural. We know that's all. And you wanna this and that and all of that. Everything in the sweet goodie bag and this and that and all of that. Everything in the sweet goodie bag and this and that, all of that. Everything in the sweet goodie bag and this and that, all of that. Everything in the sweet goodie bag.
That laugh at the end, Daniel Dubois trademark, priceless. Daniel, big up yourself. A fantastic composition. You alone know why you didn't sing it. According to Daniel, it was a little too slow. I could have tried to up it, but really a great composition as far as the industry was concerned. And we mentioned, I went to the feds, we went to quite a few, adding the private events. This Red Brunch, the crew, Kevin, Springer, Taddy, and so, was a fantastic, a great fete for the ambience, the enjoyment, the non-stop, not sticking. Again, playing a major part in that one with DYP, but it was one of the most enjoyable fetes. What I've found, folks, and it's a memo, we welcome our friends from overseas, the DJs. There is no skirting around it. The DJs generally talk too much. Bro, there's no denying it. There's no thing around it. You just let the music dominate, man. I said, this 10 seconds a song and then talking all. There's a sweet song released. You're probably going to enjoy it. You're talking all over it. There's no. It's not about you. It's not about the DJs. It's about the music. You know. It just must. And the Red Brunch proved that letting the music flow, letting people enjoy it. At time, one person told me he can't have time to get his hands in the air. A sweet song before his hands in the air, and a DJ interrupt him. A lot of the DJs, we don't have to call any names, no specific, but throughout the carnival, particularly our friends from overseas, just talk too much, just too much. Let, in our Lucian Carnival, our thing, you let the music flow a little bit, let us feel it, you know. And I thought they really got it right at Red Brunch. Persons really had a chance to, you know, to really enjoy the music and savor it throughout. And so, we're not always on a beach in the United States. That's not the vibe there. We want to feel the music. There's some sweet music, we want to feel it. I'm serious. So we welcome them. They have helped in promoting the carnival. They're very welcome and we appreciate them being here. But just a note to them too, they're not immune to getting tips and advice. Just let the music flow a little more. I saw it, you know, at a couple of the fetes, let the music flow a little more. And the range of music to play, the wider range, you know. So the work continues, but that Red Brunch stood out for enjoyment and flow. Just hit after hit and enjoying the music. The hands were in the air for all the time. People really ecstatic with the music. I want to commend them. They're one of the more enjoyable fetes. A number of the others too. There's a suite of fetes from Zuvo. The Just for Fun still having the three of the greatest fetes in the carnival. And a number of other persons adding the events, the fringe events to the carnival, making the whole a package of fetes were really impressive, and a couple of my visitor friends, they were spoiled for choice, you know, fetes, clashing fetes, what to do. And generally St. Lucia, I want to come in Just for Fun again for so many, the operational task that they have of organizing all these events. When I saw Remedy ending the night before into the morning, and by 4 o'clock the entire Pigeon Point was cleared of all infrastructure, ready for to welcome persons at Breakfast Fete. Really big up yourself as the Just for Fun team for a mammoth logistical undertaking down to the road. You really did well, Lance, Veal and company, big up yourself. And this Lucia team generally, our standard of events and production is really top class. I have traveled a lot, Bobby, to events and festivals. Our standard of the production value, quality, and event execution, we are way up there.
And that's back from the national event, by the way. You have to give a
we sent on the program already, the national events.
And Event St. Lucia.
The team led by Caio, but Jean-Claude is there, Lavelle is there, and the whole team. Of course, the CPMC element under Tammy Gibson, their side of it to contribute in their team, having their part. And of course, anything related to the packaging and branding in our carnival is really international now. When I saw, from the simplest bus carrying equipment is properly branded,
yes.
And that is not to be taken for granted. The team at every event, well outfitted, clear, and we must not, it's subtly subliminal but powerful. The branding and packaging is an aspect, and production value. We were a little deficient in that in past years. Remember the likes of Thaddeus complaining, always saying that Antigans who were ahead of us. Not now. We are top of the pack for production, marketing, branding. Big up yourself, the team led by CPMC Events and Company. We're going and we're speaking a lot. My friends overseas are still listening. They're challenging us. Our music was really first rate this year. An example of the writing to match from any carnival destination. Here's Shemi G, and listen to the writing, the phrasing, the construction of this powerful and sweet groovy soca song.
Chulo in the place, girl, I wine them well. What's the vibe today? Yes. All you doing, my friend? Hey, I had it have a brunch. I wanna take you with me. Hey, I'm like, oh, Mama, you fire. Make my heart skip with beat, oh, I'm like, oh, Mama, you fire. Make my heart skip with beat. Oh, we tell them, oh, I gotta run off, she won't burn. Like she a wine from there. Oh, I gotta run off, she won't burn. She a wine give me everything. Oh, I gotta run off, she won't burn. Like she a wine from there. Oh, I gotta run off, she won't burn. She a wine give me everything. Don't stop the walk now. All night she a wine from me. She a wine give me everything. All night she a wine from me. She a wine give me everything. She rhythm so hard, she walking out with so hard. Oh, tonight a program, I tell you I don't know what's over. Yes, yeah. I wanna party all night long. Only to the morning. Oh, Mama, you fire. Make my heart skip to beat, oh, Mama, you fire. Make my heart skip to beat. Oh, we tell them, oh, they gotta roll up, she won't come. Whole night she a wine for me. Oh, they gotta roll up, she won't come. She a wine give me everything. Oh, they gotta roll up, she won't come. Whole night she a wine for me. Oh, they gotta roll up, she won't come. She a wine give me everything. Don't stop the walk now. Whole night she a wine for me. She a wine give me everything. Whole night she a wine for me. She a wine give me everything. If I could get that the rum, maybe right now it's time to have fun. Hot sun for the summer can't run. I'll make it flop just like the bunch fun. Flop, flop, like the bunch fun. Flop, flop, shake your bum bum. Flop, flop, just like the bunch fun. Okay, Lily, I'ma say yes to DJ. You don't know. Give me everything, my girl. Everything, yeah. Team Fox, big up. You don't know.
The talent St. Lucia right on top there this year, and I want to big up some of the fine talents. When I think Mika grew, to our own in that soca this year.
Yeah.
People like Niretti, her song didn't impact the public as much as that, but her talent. There's a powerful female soca artist, that Niretti that to keep an eye on
Lots of
as she
potential.
continues. Niretti, big up yourself. People like among the ladies, Divine and Stowers, new talent in the calypso to be looked at. A lot of talent emerging, and as I said, we can vouch for the quality. We'll ask Maureen in a while to do a little mix of the quality of songs that we had. We dealt with Denry segment and the mainstream now, the groovy, and to a lesser extent the power. It wasn't our strongest year in power. We have some more powerful years.
One song stood out in the power, basically. Well, two.
Salute and
Shemi J. Sheila, which for me could have been a groovy,
a powerful groovy.
Yes.
A powerful groovy. The songs get caught in no man's land.
In between.
It just it barely eclipses the beat for groovy, but not the drive of a real power. But he plays second in the end. He came through and acquitted himself. Really a powerful. That song I find could have been played a little more in a fun carnival, a little more, particularly pushing to the visitors. That song should have stuck a little more. That's potential as a fun song and with nice music to break out there. Relatable topic, of course. The women, the man-woman interchange is always irresistible for the carnival populations. But as we see, we continue the review. Tomorrow morning we'll have the results and so as we look at the carnival and its continued growth. We will have that tomorrow morning. Today, 11 o'clock, the press conference. No doubt it will be live streamed for the public, our entire diaspora, to follow the results of the different competitions this morning. That's coming through. And then we wrap up our review on VAVAL Central. A review has been planned by some entities to do an independent review of the carnival open to the public, just to discuss where we are at. And a generally very good carnival, but always need for improvement to look at improving that. Maureen, there are a few people. Mika, we've heard a nice groovy song.
Step Out.
There's Step Out was really different, I thought, again from Extreme Band. There was also Devon, you mentioned, Sly with the Road Call, and a number of others. There's one other we mentioned, outstanding, Stop It Stacey maybe. Just a wave of fresh new music and a slew of artists really giving a lot of hope and encouragement that our music is on the right path. Give them a little mix, please, Maureen.
Absolutely.
It's Mika. Hey, ooh, yeah. My girl, show them what you got. Wine your waist, girl, show them what you got. You look good, girl, show them what you got. Hey, ladies, step out down. Hey, wine your waist, nice body. Hey, turn around, touch the floor now, daddy. Shake it, make your back and break it. All eyes on you, don't fake it. Bad girl, show them how you roll. Step out down, snap a picture quickly. Camera flash, show them that you ready. Wine it, wine your waist, girl, roll it. All eyes on you, don't fake it. Bad girl, show them how you roll. When you read it, that's a feeling in my soul. Yes, I'm hitting and I'm losing all control. Heartbeat matching every drum and every beat. Feel the power rising while my body overheats. So when the music starts to play, now I ain't all over the place. You better watch your back by me, cause I'm not what you face. Step out down, hey, wind your waist nice slowly, hey, turn around, hey, touch the floor now, daddy. Shake it, make your back bend, break it. All eyes on you, don't fake it. Bad girl, show them how you roll. Step out, girl, hey, snap a picture quickly, hey, camera can't stop us. Can't slow us down. We rise on the prize. This year we are sticking. No more wasting time. Right now we are innovating. Tell wicked people, not today. Nobody can stop us. So put your hand in the air, tell them we can't stop us. They can't slow us down. Can't slow us. We are on a mission. Tell them what is our mission. Can't stop us. They can't slow us down. We focus in one direction. We moving with good momentum. We get on our mission. Stop it from there. What is our mission? Stop it from there. We get on our mission. Stop it from there. What is our mission? Stop it from there. No distraction, phone on silent. Dreams to bounce, signals get quiet. Every step that takes me higher. Jealous people feel my fire. We there on a new road. Confidence in overload. Nobody can stop me. So put your hand in the air, tell them they can't stop us. They can't slow us down. We go on a mission. Tell them what is our mission. Can't stop us. They can't slow us down. We focus in one direction. We moving with good.
Yeah, fantastic music, Devon, one of the great finds. We've made the point repeatedly on this program. DJs, my soldiers, my comrades, I think we underserved, the DJs underserved that song and Shemi G song. Visitors to St. Lucia should be living here singing that song irresistibly. That song, I am not a DJ Marine. I could get forwarded that song in any party.
Absolutely.
DJs, you're underserved. St. Lucian DJs leading the way. Well, the visitors, you can blame them or not blame them, but we should have pushed that song and mixes. There are parts of the road where that could rock, and also in the parties I didn't have that song. We underserved that song, and Shemi G's Crying and Lying. You know, that's nice, fun songs. It's not the bandwagon thing, not because we still sing Trinidad every time. That's all you're driving on. We, as solution music, we should push them two songs, those two songs a little more. But anyway, Maureen, we're respecting everybody, and it's their space, it's their assignment. But DJs, they're certain, you know. These visitors should not be leaving here without knowing that song. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
They're supposed
Totally
to
agree.
recognize that song and add it to the playlist. Anyway, we go in. And then there was Mr. Sly, one of the best tunes for the season, and Stop It Stacy. Just a sample of some of the good music, particularly in the groovy. We'll do the power tomorrow, but the groovy soca. And of course, the Henry segment have a special day we're going to deal with. Sly now.
Tell us that they balloon chill. Tell them with the sound system. If you find that person, scream there. But you want to run, we don't get them careless. I can't wait for the carnival. Everybody come. I don't wait. Come down to this city. Every black he says. Every rock in the air. All you people be praised. Every rock in the air. Oh Lord, I can't resist. On the road full of sweetness. Your bloody must run. All of you welcome to business. Witness a celebration. I'm back on a masterpiece. Beautiful misbehavior. Full of it in your bank is so. If you can walk, if the land can talk. Cause you live us from everyone. We don't have no place. Ladies not in the rest. Tell them meet me by the waterfront. Hey people say I can't wait for the carnival. Everybody come. I don't wait. Come down to this city. Every flag in the sky. Every rock in the air. All you people be praised. Every rock in the air. One lot of glass. Falling on no one to play. Revelers and masqueraders. Don't need no one at all. Bring your family, bring your neighbors. Come see the fun parading in this
Yep, Sly. A big one by all standards. And then we are also looking at a youngster who came through. Twazi was his name, and he was asking Stacy to stop it. Nice composition indeed. As we end today on VAVAL Central, we leave you with Stop It Stacy by Twazi. Tomorrow 8 o'clock as we deal with the results and the rest of our review, Claude Paul. So,
Yes, of course.
Twazi, you get to end another interesting song, nice composition, fantastic revelation, discovery for the soca industry, until lots of potential. Is that kind of pitch and tone, Poppy, a writer, producer would have fun. Maureen, big up yourself tomorrow,
Absolutely.
8 o'clock.
I definitely look forward to it. Have a good day, guys. Gentlemen.
Yeah, it's fine.
Listen, we here.
We appreciate that you physically here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I know my word.
Absolutely.
Inside joke. Absolutely. Bye, guys. There's a lot of people trending this morning on the So I'm telling you, they can look on for the result because they were saying they're here for the result.
Yeah, 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock on Carnival St. Lucia. 11 o'clock at the Cultural Center. The results will be there. Cultural Center, 11 o'clock this morning, and live stream to the entire world. Live stream the results for the Carnival 2026. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Standing up at the side of the sun, watching all them girl bubble up. 2 by 2 in attack formation, them outside in frustration. Baseline chop on the rhythm.